All right. So I guess I look pretty ridiculous with all this stuff on me. Anyway, just wanted to talk a little bit about the time when I worked at Hughes Aircraft Company, the first time I worked there. In, I don't know, about 82 or 83, I worked with a man called Dick Matthews. Now, he was probably one of the most smartest person I've ever known. And he was an engineer. He was on contract with Hughes, so he didn't actually work with Hughes because I'm sure he could have gotten jobs at any place he wanted to. So he was working for pretty good money. But one of the interesting things about Hughes, about Dick Matthews, he was a programmer. And more than that, he was a mechanical engineer, and so he knew a lot about everything. And one of the most interesting things about him was he would sit there at the keyboard, typing in front of a big piece of equipment, test equipment that was designed to test circuit boards for the laser range finders we were working on. And he would sit there and he would type, and then he hit compile, and then he would go to sleep. So he would just sit there like this, sound asleep, sometimes even snoring. And then the machine would ding, make a noise that it was done, and he would immediately wake up and immediately start typing again. Just right away, like he had never stopped. And he would type. And then again, he'd hit compile, and then he'd go to sleep. So it was an interesting way of working. But he did his job. He knew what he was doing. So, unfortunately, in his personal life, he didn't really know what he was doing. He had a kind of a messed up personal life. He was divorced. He had raised a son, and I'm sure the son was out of the house. So it was just him and was his wife, but then it was his ex-wife. And so they got divorced. And he was constantly talking about the things that she had asked for, requested, done. She had gone through several schools and got a bunch of degrees, but she never worked, and he was really complaining that she would never work because he was having to pay her alimony. And so we had a long discussions about that, but one of the things that we talked about was we talked about his wife all the time, and he was so frustrated that she had not gotten a job, and he thought he was going to be supporting her forever. So we talked about his scheme where he decided it would be cheaper if he would hire somebody to romance her, and he said preferably he figured it out all. He was going to hire an illegal alien, somebody who needed papers. And he would pay for the guy to have a nice apartment somewhere by the beach for a couple of months so he could pursue the wife and, go approach her and end up asking her to marry him. And he would, have this nice apartment, and he would have plenty of nice clothes and stuff, and he would look like he was, had money. And he would then get Dick's wife to marry him, or his ex-wife to marry him, and then get his papers. And when she got married, he was no longer on the hook for keeping her, funded for all the things she wanted to do. she would take like clay, ceramic classes and art classes, and always after money and things to do. So that was his thing. He said he'd give her something to do. She could have this guy that she decided to marry, and the guy married her. And anyway, that was the plan. As far as I know, that never happened, but it was an interesting story nonetheless. And it's actually, now that I think about it, I might just redact the name. So anyway, all right. That's an interesting story from Hughes Aircraft Company.